Throughout the Rocky Mountain West, an epidemic is spreading. This big problem is being caused by a very small creature.
So here's a couple mountain pine beetle, and we'd say they're about the size of a grain of rice. So a pretty small critter doing an awful lot of damage.
Some are calling it the worst crisis ever to hit American forests.
In the last 3 years, I've probably cut over 2,000 trees. I cut 110 trees yesterday. So it's hard to keep a running count, but I know I did 100 yesterday.
In a region known for its epic vistas, the mountain pine beetle is devastating centuries-old forests and wreaking severe economic and environmental damage. And scientists say that nothing can be done to stop it.
It will change the face of skiing. They say that most of the lodgepole pine from the Mexican border to the Canadian border will be lost in this epidemic. We're just one little piece of that. So it's a very big national problem.
We're at one of the entrances into Steamboat Lake State Park, one of the campgrounds that have been closed. And you can see in the background these red trees, which are dying quicker than the park has been able to deal with them.
The bark beetle infestation started about 8 years ago. We've had a number of pockets start to grow. Through 2006, we had about 1 million acres of infested lands. In 2007, we jumped to 1.5 million acres. That's equivalent to almost 3,000 square miles, which would be twice the size of Long Island. We do expect that to go over 2 million, possibly up to 2.5 million acres as this plays out in the next couple of years.
This epidemic is certainly the worst we've ever seen. It's a phenomena. It's changing the landscape, and it's something that is a once in a lifetime, certainly once in a generational type of thing.
While the epicenter of the American problem lies in northern Colorado and Wyoming, across the West, the pine beetle has affected forests from New Mexico to western Canada.
The reason for the epidemic is really twofold. One is the drought cycle. 8 years of drought. The trees are weakened. You've had those trees with less moisture in them, so they haven't been able to defend themselves as well. The other important factor of the weather is that the winters have been really mild. The bark beetle has a 1-year life cycle. It attacks a tree in July and August. It lays its eggs, and the eggs and the larvae overwinter. And during that time, the larvae are susceptible to freezing. Since we've had such mild winters the last 8 years, we really haven't had any dieback of the insects during the winter months.
Yes, these infested trees are doomed.
The pine beetle is endemic to the West, and there have been damaging outbreaks in the past, but none of them, say experts, have been this severe. In Grand County, said to be ground zero for Colorado's pine beetle epidemic, mortality of lodgepole pines, the predominant species in the region, has reached over 90%.
This year specifically, we cut down about 6,000 trees for about a little over $250,000. We have a community of a little less than 500 people, so as a per capita basis, we've had a pretty large burden financially.
My wife and I bought this house about 4.5 years ago, and there were 52 large trees on the property, ranging from 24 inches in diameter down to 12 inches in diameter that were all hit by beetles, and they're all gone. Obviously, the economic impact was not fun to deal with. It was an emotional thing. My wife and I started 2 years ago this month on those two stumps over there. Those were the first 2 trees we cut down over there.
Dead forests increase the danger of fire. They can lead to erosion, and because dead trees don't absorb carbon dioxide, the beetle problem can also worsen global warming.
I know coming into this that scientists don't all agree on this issue. Some say that truly there is nothing one can do. Others say that there are things one can do.
Here we go. Here's a live one moving. Here we go.
Right now, the beetle's progress into other regions seems inevitable, but that has not stopped some concerned property owners from trying to reduce its impact.
Here's a live beetle right here. She's busy finishing up her egg chamber.
In Aspen, where the beetle epidemic has not yet taken hold, a newly formed group called For the Forest has hired top scientists and foresters to develop a plan that, in spite of great odds, they hope might slow the beetle's march.
Removing dead trees, removing diseased trees, and removing trees that are in high jeopardy, high vulnerability to the beetle is probably going to be required. In addition, planting new trees of new species to give the forest greater biodiversity and therefore increase the forest's own immune system.
By most accounts, the beetle has caused hundreds of millions of dollars of damage. But amidst the devastation, some have found opportunity.
Well, the beetle does actually nothing but leave a blue stain. If you notice over there in the wood, it leaves a blue stain, which is a fungus, but it harms the wood in no way. It doesn't leave any marks inside the wood. It leaves behind this fungus, which the tree absorbs, and it kills the tree. During the 90s, the timber industry kind of died out in Colorado. Since the beetle has kind of taken over the forest, the timber industry definitely has been revived in Colorado because of the pine beetle.
In the areas hardest hit by the mountain pine beetle, new forests will eventually emerge, a fact that has led some residents here to embrace a stoic optimism.
We're the first ones to get nailed with it. We'll be the first ones to be cleaned up. And that's why I say that some of the other resort areas that have had the attitude is we're going to stop this, they're not. The best thing to smell in the morning is chainsaw fuel. That's the best thing to smell every morning. Get this stuff out of here.